come September this year, Korea will open doors to the second summit on responsible artificial intelligence in the military domain, following the forum's inaugural summit in the Netherlands early last year. So what is the purpose of the summit? And what is the role of AI in the military at present? Also, what issues need to be further addressed to allow for safe AI applications? Hello and welcome. You're watching yet another edition of Issues and Insiders. I'm Min Sunhee. Today we touch upon efforts to ensure safe and sustainable AI applications within the military to allow for broader peace and stability. For this, I have Ambassador Peter Van Vliet from the Netherlands here in the studio. Ambassador, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
I also have Director General Youn Kwon of International Security at Seoul's Foreign Ministry with us as well. Mr. Youn, welcome to the studio.
Thanks for having me.
Ambassador Van der Vliet, we'll start with you. Let's begin then with a few details about the summit on responsible artificial intelligence in the military domain. What is the purpose of this particular summit? And do tell us a bit about the takeaways from the inaugural summit in The Hague, I believe, last year.
That's right. We had the first REAIM summit last year, February, in The Hague, organized by my country, the Netherlands, and co-hosted by the Republic of Korea. And the aim of that summit last year was to really raise awareness of all the issues surrounding the use of artificial intelligence in the military. There were more than 80 countries that sent delegations to the conference. And additionally, there were many participants from industry, from civil society, from the academia. So we really had a multi-stakeholder discussion around these issues. The result was a so-called call to action, which was really a commitment to continue this global dialogue on what the impact of the use of artificial intelligence in the military really is and can be, the potential impact. And by impact, I mean impact on international security and stability. And it was at that moment also that South Korea stepped forward and said, hey, we would like to organize the next summit, and here we are, REAIM 2024, which will take place in Seoul in September.
Right, Mr. Youn, staying with that then. So the second summit will take place here in Seoul. Korea, as the ambassador has said, will be organizing the second summit, and the Netherlands and Singapore will be co-hosting it with South Korea.
Correct.
What is the agenda of the second summit, and what role do you suppose can South Korea play to perhaps ensure relevant exchanges on AI applications?
Thank you. First of all, when we chose to co-host the REAIM for the first time, and then also stepped up to host the second REAIM summit, we were sure that this topic, the AI, including both in the military domain and also in the civilian domain, will be the game changer of everything. So we were very confident that this topic will be the key issue for the entire international community in the future. And because our foreign policy, the biggest slogan is GPS, Global Pivotal State, and it was a very natural choice for us to pursue this agenda further. And you ask about the agenda of this meeting, REAIM 2024, because call to action has been just made. What you're going to do is promote and develop the discussion further. And our aim is to come up with some sort of blueprint, so to say, for action. So based on when the first REAIM summit was agreed on the necessity of continuing this dialogue, what you're trying to do is identify the global consensus on the key issues concerning the governance and all the application of this concept of responsibility in the military, in the use of AI in the military domain. And what Korea can do is, first of all, seek the views of the international community as wide as possible. And after listening to their voices from not only from states, but also from the other stakeholders, like academia, civil society, and also from the industry, which also increasingly become a key player in this field. And we will try to after the rounds of this multi-stakeholder dialogues, different style, we'll try to sum up the debate and the proceedings into some sort of outcome document.
Right, I see. And before we delve further into the summit itself, Ambassador van der Vliet, do tell us a bit more about the partnership between South Korea and the Netherlands in promoting dialogue on AI in the military domain and, of course, its significance.
Right. So maybe I should start by saying that the Republic of Korea and the Netherlands have been working together previously, very fruitfully on a number of issues. I think we are like-minded countries on many issues of global concern. So I think there's a lot of trust in each other's expertise and professionalism. Specifically with regard to REAIM, this cooperation has been very fruitful so far and quite vital because we managed to put the issue of AI in the military domain on the international agenda. We've managed to start this process of awareness raising, and I think South Korea is a really obvious choice for us as the Netherlands, because South Korea is really active and showing leadership on all dimensions of artificial intelligence, on AI safety, on AI norm setting in general, also in the civilian domain, and not to mention the fact that most of the chips, the microprocessors that are needed, the semiconductors that are needed to even have this AI revolution are produced in and by South Korea. So South Korea is uniquely positioned as an global AI leading country to be part of this debate, and therefore, and I think DG Youn mentioned South Korea wanting to be a global pivotal state. I think this is an illustration of South Korea actually being that global pivotal state that it aspires to be.
Right, so taking a step in that direction then. What role, Mr. Youn, is AI playing as we speak in the military domain?
Right. First of all, in many people, when they first hear about application of AI in the military domain, they usually try to imagine something like autonomous weapons system. However, in reality, AI is already being used everywhere, not only in the military, but really literally everywhere. And it's already with us, like everywhere. AI is also already heavily embedded in all the military systems. For example, the most important and widely used area is ISR, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance part, which will help military decision makers have help making informed decision on military affairs and have enhanced situational awareness in every regard. It can also help making the optimal choices, like optimal allocation of military resources, and make all this develop all this achieve much higher efficiency and military logistics system. Now, what we are trying to do is identify the current what kind of impacts the application of AI in the military domain can bring to international peace and stability. And we will need to talk a lot about how we can, for example, apply and how we can implement certain key core principles or concepts in actual military activities, and also think about how we can best design the future governance system of military AI.
Right, so we have been using AI in the military in the past as well. So we need not worry then about the balance between soldier and AI software.
So let me put it this way. So AI is not only about weapons. Of course, it may be used in weapon system, but in reality, as we use computer all the time to conduct any job, right? Same thing is happening in the military. So whether it's logistics, or whether it's war planning, or whether it's just intelligence activities, or just the management of all these resources, it's already being used everywhere, because the key point of using AI is to have a clear decision advantage over adversary, and also achieve maximum efficiency in whatever you do. So AI means higher computational power, and that means speed, and that can ultimately give us more time to think, and better execution of everything you do. Increase precision and accuracy.
Right. Ambassador, the European Union's AI Act, it's the world's first legal framework on on artificial intelligence aimed at better addressing its potential risks. Having said that, what can you tell us about Europe's stance with regard to the use of AI in the military?
Well, when we were discussing the European Union's AI Act, it was felt that we need to devote a lot more separate attention specifically to AI in the military domain because of its potential impact on peace and security, its potential impact on the lives of people, because this could affect millions of people. And therefore, we are having this discussion. It's continuing, and I think the European Union perspective on this is evolving as we speak. Hopefully, we will identify some principles, and one such principle, for example, already is the principle of inclusivity, which means that we need to have this conversation, this global dialogue with as many states as possible and as many other stakeholders as well. Industry plays a crucial role in this, so does civil society, academia. So one of the principle of inclusivity, I think, is key, and we need to continue that conversation.
Right. And in the meantime, Mr. Youn, what might be some of the sticking points with regard to the broader adoption of AI in the military?
Okay, this is a very difficult question. Also, it's real key to the whatever you're going to discuss within the REAIM process. I think the most important question that we have to face is the level of human involvement in military decision-making using AI. For example, ultimately, all military activities is a serious business because it ultimately deals with human lives. So there is very strong belief that any sort of lethality decision should be taken by the human, and this cannot be delegated to AI. And also, there are many strong calls from the international community overall that human has to be always on the loop, and AI cannot take responsibility by itself. So, meaning any consequences that emanates from the use of military AI should be borne by human beings, and not AI. And also in this regard, there is an important concept of traceability. Traceability means we have to, and explainability that, so these concepts mean that when AI has done something, has conducted some activity, the reasoning behind that certain action or a certain choice should be able to be understood by human beings. It should be explained, and we should be able to trace back how it came to a certain conclusion. Otherwise, we cannot exactly pinpoint what has went wrong or right, and who is responsible for which part. So these are kind of key concepts when you're dealing with military application of AI.
Right. These are perhaps then the concerns or challenges we need to further tackle. That being said, Ambassador van der Vliet, with regard to the global dialogue on AI adoption, how far have we come? I mean, what matters have been addressed and what others need to be further dealt with?
Yeah. So I think we've managed to put this issue on the on the global agenda. I think we've started this global dialogue. There are quite a few issues and dilemmas that need to be further deepened and discussed, so to come to to fully grasp them. Director General Youn already mentioned the level of autonomy of weapon systems, for example, because we have reached a point in the development of mankind and civilization where we need to ask the fundamental question: is man in charge of technology, or is technology in charge of us? And that is particularly pressing an issue in AI in the military domain. Does technology own us, or do we own technology? So these are issues that need to be further discussed, because we want to move, and that's also a direct answer to your question, from awareness raising and mapping the various dilemmas and issues towards maybe identifying norms and standards for the responsible use of AI. That's where we're heading for. This will take time. It's a complex issue. And I could also say that we have established a global commission to help us in this thinking.
The Netherlands.
Yeah, and the Global Commission is an international commission, by the way, led by a former South Korean foreign minister, Minister Youn, if I pronounce it correctly. And there's a lot of brain power there to help us. They can help us with strategic recommendations and to help us with ideas and to keep that political momentum that we need to keep that going. I would also like to add that to many people, this seems like a very technical discussion. I often get the question also from colleagues, oh, is this stuff for experts? On the one hand, it is, but on the other hand, this is really fundamentally about preserving and promoting international security and stability. So this is also the stuff for political leaders, for policymakers, and that's why I'm very happy that both the South Korean Foreign Minister and the Minister of Defense are hosting REAIM 2024.
Right. And Ms. Youn, keeping in mind the current geopolitical tensions that we face, as well as the tasks ahead for the broader adoption of AI, what diplomatic strategy would you propose to allow for perhaps productive AI applications?
This is a very difficult question. But as I said earlier, I think the most important first step that we need to take is to seek the views of the international community with some sort of intellectual humility, so to say. Because first of all, we know that this technology, AI technology, is really developing and at so-called breakneck speed. Nobody is really on top of everything. No one really understands exactly what the AI can bring to the humanity, whether it's in the military or in the civilian sphere. And what we really need to do is really to listen without prejudice and try to seek what are the really common, and to formulate some sort of common understanding out of this process. For example, there are a couple of key elements or key beliefs that everybody can basically agree upon. For example, like it has to respect certain international law, like the UN Charter, or certain basic norms concerning human rights or international humanitarian laws. And also there is really the very basic element that AI should serve the humanity, not the other way around. I think Ambassador just put it eloquently. And these are really the key concepts or really the foundation of all debates that we have to conduct. And none of them is purely really technical. Sometimes it gets very ethical, and sometimes it sounds very philosophical. But if we miss these parts in our debate, then we're not going to achieve much. Coming back to the geopolitical reality and this very difficult task ahead, sometimes some different blocks or so say groups of countries have slightly different approach when it comes to the application of AI. Some countries are naturally concerned about possible AI gap that can be further consolidated and attached permanently, and making this divide even bigger. And that is that's fair concern. So in our debate within the REAIM process, we will surely discuss how nations can cooperate each other to reduce the gap, and how we can help each other. So ultimately, the application of AI in the military domain will lead us in more peace and security, not more conflicts and loss of lives.
Right, hopefully, of course. And staying with what Mr. Youn has just said, with regard to cooperation, Ambassador van der Vliet, speaking within your capacity as a diplomat, what do you propose to perhaps better bridge the gap among nations, as mentioned by Mr. Youn earlier?
Yeah, I think in order to avoid this AI divide from becoming bigger, I think we need, again, I come back to the issue of inclusivity. We need to have this global dialogue as broadly as possible, with as many stakeholders as possible, as many countries as possible. So I call this the big tent approach. So I bring everybody into the big tent to have this dialogue. I think that is key. And I think also REAIM 2024 offers that platform to have that global dialogue. And also so that if we move towards, let's say, a more normative framework, that will also help us to keep each other accountable and to keep others accountable. So that's hopefully we're heading for.
Right. Ambassador, do you see the issue of AI as bringing the world closer together or setting us apart? I ask as we believe trade brings countries together where you have conflict over, let's say, history or security issues. Economy serves to bring countries together for dialogue. Having said that, do you see the broader dialogue on AI bringing the world closer together?
I think that is certainly the aim, but we have to work hard to do that, to achieve that, because it can also divide us. And that's why I talked about the big tent and inclusivity, and that's precisely why we want to have this global dialogue. So we must work hard to let AI bring us together. It doesn't happen naturally, I think.
Right, of course not. And this is an impromptu question for you, Mr. Youn. What will the Foreign Ministry here in South Korea do to ensure that the dialogue includes countries around the world to bring them together with regard to AI?
Okay. I think I think whatever I spoke at this program is basically a principle laid out by our ministers and ministers, because as Ambassador Van Vliet just said, inclusivity is really the key, because nobody knows exactly how this technology, where this technology will bring us to, and to address this question, if nations are thinking about each other and trying to bring more peace and security, then naturally we have to be very open to the ideas that other countries bring to the podium, bring to the table. And I'm pretty sure our ministers, both foreign minister and defense minister, will try to take a good balance between the innovation and regulation to make sure that we use military AI in a responsible way, because we cannot really limit what the AI technology can bring to the humanity. It may bring more peace and security, and by appropriate use of it. At the same time, we will be very irresponsible by not adopting certain type of regulations into the entire process, because we just don't know whether AI is supposed to be a servant for humanity, but may do something different. We already know about the hallucination that AI systems can bring. So whatever we do, it just keep making the efforts the same direction as much as possible, so to bring the countries together. So it's really up to us how well we do in this meeting.
Right. And against this cloud of uncertainty, if you will, and of course hopes for much more prosperity and peace in the future with regard to AI, Ambassador Van der Vliet, what is your advice regarding collaboration, future collaboration between South Korea and the Netherlands on the AI front?
Oh, my advice would be very simple. Let's continue. We have a very great strategic partnership, South Korea and the Netherlands. We have started this together. Let's continue the journey together and include as many stakeholders as possible.
Right, for sure. All right, Ambassador, thank you very much for your time and your thoughts. And Director General Youn Jong of the International Security at Seoul's Foreign Ministry, thank you very much for your time as well.
Thank you very much.
Right, well, on that note, we end this edition of Issues and Insiders. As always, thank you for watching.